For the longest time, getting groups together in Star Citizen has been a bit of a hassle when people die, an event that usually results in those individuals having to spend a large amount of time getting back to the group. But as of 3.8.1, this is no longer the case. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist, and if you're like me, the Cutlass Red really wasn't on your radar. With big shiny ships like the Carrack coming out this month, those are easy to distract you from what might actually be the most important ship to have in your fleet. So in this video, we're going to go over the Cutlass Red and what it does for Star Citizen, and what features it introduces that other ships in Star Citizen will be able to take advantage of. And by the end, you'll know why I'm going to make sure that I have one of these on every organization outing from now on. Before we get started though, I wanted to remind you that if you do enjoy the content that I make and you think I deserve it by the end, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help me and the channel out. Let me set the stage for you for a moment here. You get your organization together, say 10-15 guys, and you hop in a Valkyrie and you want to go drop down to some planet somewhere or board an 890 jump and take out some pirates. But something happens along the way. Something goes wrong with the boarding team. Maybe the first few guys get killed. But you just spent an hour or more getting those guys together, now they've got to spend another 20 minutes just getting back to where you were. And by that time, well, they've missed out on all the action. 3.8.1 completely changes this dynamic. The new medical gameplay that the Drake Cutlass Red is bringing to the table for organization events, or just even doing ground missions on your own, is pretty fantastic. The Cutlass Red has 2 medical beds in its med bay which are functional as of this new version. What they do is heal your character in the case of injury, say your leg gets shot. Well, that can be completely restored back to 100%. More importantly though, if you set this as your ICU or intensive care unit through the menu system in the ship, it will become your own mobile respawn point if you die within 4,000 meters of the ship. Now this is a bit of a placeholder for what they have planned in the future, but it will operate very similarly. In the final version, they want to make it so that if your character hasn't been mortally wounded, that means say a headshot, then you're going to be able to be resuscitated by this vehicle, which makes this vehicle in both the current version and the future planned version of it an indispensable asset on the battlefield, both on the ground and in space. But before you jump to go buy one and think that it's absolutely necessary for you yourself to own one, you may be surprised and happy to learn that you don't actually have to own it to be able to utilize its abilities. That's right, only one member of your group needs to have one at hand at the battlefield in order for everybody in the party or organization to use it as long as they're in that 4,000 meter range. But it's not just the Cutlass Red that has this ability. The Carrack too has something on board for doing very much the same thing, as well as most capital ships, including the more recently released 890 Jump, which you can currently find floating around the verse. Though this is one of the more expensive options, and I wouldn't expect to see many of these on the battlefield. After all, it is a luxury touring ship that's really not meant for the front lines of battle. But if you do happen to bring it onto the front line, it can do the same thing. However, I would say that the specific rescue vehicles like this Cutlass Red will be able to do the task better than any other ship, aside from maybe the Apollo, which is a slightly upsized version of it. That's because in the future, there's going to be a bit more of a process to healing characters. You will want to have designated medics in your organization who are tasked with recovering bodies. That's right, recovering bodies involving physically going and grabbing and dragging those bodies to the medical beds to repair them. This makes big ships like the 890 Jump somewhat impractical for a lot of scenarios because it would take quite a bit of time and effort to get that said body to the medical bay. The Cutlass Red, on the other hand, is purpose-built for search and rescue, with 2 docking collars on either side of the ship and a full drop-down ramp on the back to wheel people in. So even if you have a Carrack or an 890 Jump, you might still want to make sure that somebody in your organization has one of these things for that future version of this gameplay. But is it good enough, and should we have expected more? Honestly, I don't think any of us expected anything from this ship. They've added a lot of ships in the game in the past, before the functionality, and so it's really surprising to me to see them add in a medical ship with actual medical gameplay and not to have even advertised that on the roadmap. It's actually a very pleasant surprise, and I hope this sets a precedent for future ships. I would hate to see another Reclaimer type ship without even having salvaging. Now you may be wondering why I haven't gone over the way it looks. That's because I've already done a video called An Architect Reviews the Cutlass Black, and so if you want to see that particular sort of review, make sure you check that out in the description below. I want to instead cover more of the functionality of it and what it brings to Star Citizen in this video. I think it's still a really cool looking ship, and I actually kind of want to add one to my own personal fleet. I think it adds a lot of functionality to the game that hasn't been there. But with the characters around the corner, I'm kind of holding off on it. But what about you? Are you like me, and were you blindsided by just how important this ship might actually be to your fleet? Let me know down in the comments section below. I've been Morphologist. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope to see you guys next time.